I am back in Branson, Missouri to check out an update on the field of abandoned movie cars, or neglected movie cars, as some people commented in the last video. They're not fully abandoned. They are still kind of taken care of. We also have the warehouse right here, if I turn it around, where we've got more Fast and Furious cars. And then the owner, curator of the Celebrity Car Museum in Branson, Missouri, Scott. We're going to be giving a tour of every car, going through it quickly and telling about the little stories and history. So I guess we'll start with this Mustang Fox body. This is from Fast 9, right?
This is from Fast 9. This is, well, it actually was introduced in Fast 9, and then it was used in Fast 10 as well. And so this was John Cena's car. It was kind of like a throwback. You know, Vin Diesel was into the Chargers. John Cena was always the Mustang guy, and so it's just kind of like the duality between the two brothers.
Yeah.
And you can see, I mean, it's a really cool Mustang. It's actually really fast. It's kind of got the cage. It's got the manual transmission.
Yeah, it's clean.
Got
the
all
wheels.
the studio markings everywhere. And you can see right here, it's kind of interesting. They added, for Fast 10, they added a rack on top for a canoe. And it's just kind of like a joke, because the kid, Vin Diesel's kid comes running out, or Dom's kid comes running out, and it's like, oh wow, look at this truck. And he's like, no, that's not it, it's that car over there. And he sees the Fox body, and he's like, yeah. And the kid's like, you know.
Yeah, this is a beautiful one of my favorites that you guys have. And then here, this is the beginning of the warehouse that we're going through.
Absolutely.
So
like, this is from Triple Frontier. This is one of the bad guys' cars, the kids in Peru. You can see it's got bullet holes in the hood and so forth where they used it. It's actually one of our favorite little shop toys. We run it around the lot and take it up to the store and stuff. But this is actually a really cool Samurai.
yeah.
The interior shot car from Fast 3 from Tokyo Drift, and this was the Hero interior shot car. It actually has an interesting story because it was, you know, neglected, missing, whatever. It was actually on the Universal Studios backlot tour, and it was in the section of the War of the Worlds section, and it was like back there with all of the, you know, wrecked cars and the big 747 and everything, and people were driving through there, and they're like, hey, what's going on with this? And so Dennis wound up saving the car,
Yeah.
and putting a car that was proper for the movie back in the set. But this is the interior shot car from that film.
Wow.
We got the shaggin' wagon, of course. Up top here, that is the original Tommy Boy car.
Wow.
And like, we haven't had a chance to restore it yet, but that is the actual original Tommy Boy car, and it was also used in Joe Dirt. So you can kind of see the progression of the paint there on the corner. It was that beautiful blue color, and then it was orange in Joe Dirt. And then it's been painted many different colors over that because it was used as a rental vehicle for so long.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's just kind of a cool piece. But it's documented with studio title and everything. Down here we got Bobby's car. That's his hero car from Supernatural. He's one of the main characters. All of that distress and so forth on the car was intentional. This is actually a 1971 Chevelle. And it was Bobby's favorite car, and other than the boys on Supernatural, you know, Bobby was the big
Yeah.
person on there. Lots of people love that car. Here we have Letty's Fast 9 Nova. This is actually a 6-speed manual, and it's got an LT motor in it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's a little different than most, but it was also used after that by a bad guy. I think it was in Day Shift. And so this is also a really cool car.
Up here.
Up here we've got the stunt Bentley from Fast and Furious 8. This was driven by Tyrese in Fast and Furious 8. It's actually caged. It's got a locked rear end. A lot of special features to that car. It's one I'd like to get down off the lift eventually.
Yeah.
And get it out and burn some tires off.
Man, this thing, really, really cool. Just tucked in here. It's crazy that all these cars are in here, you know, because this is the overflow lot. So there's so many cars in the museum, you can't fit more. So you just switch them out.
So down here we have, this is also from Tokyo Drift. This is one of the stunt Mustangs that was used. It's a 67 or 68 fastback. It's a manual, and it is also a big block. I think it's got a 430 in it, not 429,
Nice.
not 427, but a 430. and this is another car that eventually we'll get tooling on. Over there we've got, that actually came from up in your area. That is Joe Pace's DeLorean. It was actually the first DeLorean replica ever made. He made it back in like 1985 before the film came out,
Yeah.
to promote the film at the behest of MCA Universal. So
Wow.
he toured it around for years and years, promoting all the different films, and now we have it, and it alternates between the museum and out on tour.
Yeah, and then this car under the cover is one of my favorites you guys have.
Now this one here, when we bought this car, it came from a Cruise International auction way back in the day, and it was sold as John Cena's, or no, who was the boxer?
Oscar De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya's car. But it turns out it wasn't Oscar De La Hoya's car. It was just a really famous lowrider from back in the day that competed, because the guy who built it contacted me, and he's like, I built that car. And I was like, did you build it for Oscar De La Hoya? And he was like, no, actually I built it and I toured it around and did all this. Now, I don't know who owned it between him and me. It could have been Oscar, but this is a really cool car, very detailed.
Yeah. Is this something you put in the museum again, or you plan on selling?
I'm planning on selling it.
Yeah.
We've had it in the museum for a while, and it's
a
time
cool
for it
one.
to move down the road for someone who likes the lowriders and stuff to enjoy.
Yeah, I like that one.
Absolutely.
Now, you might have noticed some of the cars we didn't talk about. That is because we're not supposed to talk about them online, but we will come back into the warehouse to look at some of the other insane movie cars hidden in here. Before we do that, we're going to take a tour of the field.
And then out here, I guess we'll move outside. You got the Honda Fit, right?
Yeah, that one I can't really talk about yet. It's from a new movie, but that's undisclosed. The same with all
These three
of these. But we can go on to that Ford pickup truck back there.
Yeah, this thing looks cool. And you got all the cars outside. So I did a video last year on the outside cars, and they've got a few new ones. So I thought I'd come back and show an update.
Absolutely. This right here is the 1970 Ford from the ranch. If you'll notice, it's got like all the distress and stuff on it. That's all just painted on. It's actually a really nice truck underneath all that. But this was the truck that they used in the ranch. There were two trucks. One was used for B-roll, where they drove around, where you see at the very beginning of every show. And then this is the one that actually sat on set, where they were acting around it the whole time. Because most of the show happened like on the porch.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, and this was the truck that sat there. Back there we got the Lethal Weapon 3 car. That was Danny Glover's car.
Okay.
No longer an engine. That car came from Planet Hollywood. It was at Planet Hollywood for years and years and years. And then we got it out of their warehouse and set it in the weeds.
And here it sits.
And here it sits.
And then over here, I see you got two Indy cars.
Yeah, these are actually from Iron Man 2. Both of these were the crash cars that were on the set when the guy came out with the electronic stuff, and he cut Stark's car in half. These were the other two cars that got damaged in that scene.
Wow. Yeah, really cool to have. And you have more
I got
inside.
more of them inside, absolutely. This is from Gotham. This is actually, you know, in Batman they have, what's the guy's name?
Bruce Wayne?
No, the inspector.
Detective.
Yeah, this
Or whatever his name is. I don't even know because I don't watch it.
Yeah, anyway, this was the detective. This was when he was a detective, and then he became Gordon.
That was his name?
Yeah, it was.
And then right here, what is this?
This is actually going to be a replica someday. It's going to be a replica of the Men in Black bug van.
Oh, yeah.
This is the same van. It just needs to be wrapped in green.
And then
This is
Buick?
This is Mike's death car from Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
And you can see the blood on the seats and stuff in there. That's where.
Oh, yeah. You guys
Yeah,
can see
Mike
the
was sitting
stains.
in there, and he was shot, and you get to see the blood flow there.
Wow. And then here, Gremlin.
This Gremlin was driven by Eminem in the Purple Pills video. It actually has hydraulics.
So it goes up and
It
down?
goes up and down. It's a hopper.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but they wanted something that was kind of like, you know, it wasn't like fixed up or anything. It was just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, everyday guy. And then as he's driving, he's like hopping it, and that was this.
It's a funny car they chose for that. And then here, is this from Sopranos?
Yes, this is Tony Soprano's. This was his escape vehicle when when everyone was trying to get him, he went down to Florida, and this was the van. They used 2 vans in that, but as you can see, it's got like the camera mounts down below.
Right here we got one, and then there's another one.
And they got more on the other side. Yeah, absolutely.
And then back here.
Then we got a police car from Gotham. And police car from Gotham. This is Gomez from Breaking Bad, the DEA truck, and this is the one that Walter White hid in the back seat while the 2 DEA guys were getting shot up by the bad guys.
And then back there,
back there, that square body, that's from Twister, and that's like one of the main vehicles from Twister. On the side, it's got the sticker from the Institute.
and this thing is this Better Call Saul, right?
Yeah, this is Better Call Saul. Like when they were done with the car, they wound up ramping it into a little gorge, and you see a scene with him with that. And this is the gorge wrecked car.
Pretty destroyed.
Oh yeah.
And then what's that back there?
Okay, then we got this is a George Barris Pinto. It's actually a 289 Pinto that was built for an actor out in California. I can't remember his name. This is the Cable Guy. This is the interior shot Cable Guy van. That also came from Planet Hollywood. The Chevy there is really interesting. That was Frank Sinatra's. When it was brand new, Frank Sinatra bought it because all the actors were doing this thing where they were rough, they were going out on set and they were roughing it. They had their own, little campers and stuff. And he found that he didn't like it as much as he thought he would.
Yeah.
And so he wound up selling it to one of John Wayne's guys. And that guy took it up to Alaska and used it for camping. Eventually it wound up in Los Angeles where a gentleman used it for a movie. I think it was called American Folk. And they actually, it was the day after 9/11 the movie was about. And these people couldn't get a flight from LA, so they drove from LA to New York City in that. Oh. And the whole movie is about that van. So that's kind of cool.
And the green car?
And then we have Pestilence's car from Supernatural. And he was one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's an AMC Hornet. And it's actually a really good car. All of this stuff grew up after we mowed the last time for the year.
Because the last video, this wasn't here.
Yeah, I thought we had mowed it good enough for the year, but it looks like we need to do it one more time.
And this, well, I guess it says it on the side, doesn't it?
Josie and the Pussycats, yep. This was a Tara Reid vehicle. Her and the girls drove that.
Wow. And then you got what is that over there? It's like
that's a Dead Sea Donuts submarine, and it was used in an FX TV series, and it's actually a Vanagon under there. And they just eventually I think we're going to make it into a yellow submarine.
Yes, that would be cool.
Really
very cool. And inside there you told me you have a Batmobile.
Inside there is a Batmobile. We usually keep 1 or 2 around extra, just in case like just in case we need to go and solve some crimes or something.
Yeah, just tuck it in there. No one would ever know that's hidden in that trailer. Well, I guess we'll go and finish with these. You have 3 El Caminos.
Actually, we have 4. One's on the back lot. These are all John Cena's from Fast and Furious 10. These are used in the final scenes. As you can see, they're all a little different because they all have different purposes. Some are interior shot vehicles. Some of them are used just for stunts and things. Some of them are used for, where you can see all of the craziness, all the cage. And the main hero one actually had a big arsenal built back here where it was like shooting missiles and stuff.
Yeah.
We have all of that to go on this. It's in that other warehouse over there.
Oh wow! So you bought 4 of these. They came in a package.
Absolutely. And like I said, they all have different things. Like this one here's got a hero interior in it, so it's got all of the props and it's got the sidewinder shifter. That's a big thing with Fast and Furious cars. Most of the Fast and Furious cars that they've used from say Fast 4 forward, they all have those sidewinder shifters in them.
Yeah, I've seen those in a lot of your cars.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I think they get hooked in with certain sponsors or people that they want to put out, and that's what they do. They also do the Willwood brakes.
Yeah.
And they got the Weld racing wheels.
Love these seats, man.
Absolutely.
I want to put that in my car.
Absolutely. And the drift brake. It's got the dual caliper rear brakes back there for the drift brakes.
Oh yeah. Wow. And then oh, you got the engine opened up. Nice, Devin. You drive these?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's a little small block. It puts out a lot though. I think that's about a 420 horsepower. Yeah. It's
Oh
not
my
bad for a little
goodness.
small block.
Wow. And then in here we've
And
got
in here, these are the Fast 5 heist chargers. These are very important cars. They were also brought back for Fast and Furious 10, and they have, of course, the
exoskeleton.
cage on the back where they and the spool that's supposed to be
Yeah.
a winch. And these things are just fun to drive. I mean, they're just interesting little cars. I think Devin and I want to go play some crash them up derby with them sometime.
That would be fun. And then here you got a yellow Challenger.
Yeah, this right here is from Bucket List. It was driven by Jack Nicholson in Bucket List, and it was also in CSI.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was
that's
driven by
cool.
Mark Harmon in that.
And what is this? Another DeLorean?
This is just a parts car for our DeLoreans.
Wow, that's right. And then back there,
Back there we have two of the Fast 9, the Rocket Fieros.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are just like that. Out of all the vehicles, those are the two that I really wanted to get. I mean, there was only one in the show, but I think there was 3 of them that they made. They made them in England, and we've got 2 of them, and I think Universal has
One.
the other one.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting, like people saw it, and then there were all the ridiculous memes and so forth
Yeah.
about it.
and then you got a shopping cart.
Got a shopping cart. Well, I just figured in case we ever needed to, do a crazy video or something that we could drive around
One
in
day.
that thing. Absolutely.
What if this gets a certain amount of likes? Can we take it shopping? You think?
I don't know that it would go down the aisles, but we could at least take it to the
To the
parking
store,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
How many likes would you need to get on this video?
I would say at least 100,000.
100,000 likes. We're gonna need probably 1 million views on this video. But hey, there you go. If we get 100,000 likes, we can take this.
And we can listen to Panic at the Disco while we do it, because they got the shopping carts.
That would be an awesome video. Taking this to Walmart.
Oh yeah.
And then you got a little bus right here.
Yeah, it's a little mini bus. I actually bought that with the intention of turning it into like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of theme, just to park out in front of the museum, for kids to take pictures. This right here is a really cool piece. This is actually the green screen car that it was the Stark vehicle from Iron Man 2, and this is where they filmed Robert Downey Jr. in all the close-up scenes where you see him in there, and see how they made it to where it was real easy for him to get out. They just take the front off instead of like stuffing him in.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
chopped.
Yeah, because they were just focusing on him and what was behind him in the steering wheel, so wherever the camera angle was. So this was perfect, and they would put it in front of a green screen, and it had like little rollers where they would roll it around.
And then up here,
Up here we've got Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. This is their Mystery Machine. They couldn't use Mystery Machine so they made something that was so similar, and then they distressed it really far down. But it was from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. This was actually screen used, and after they were done, Kevin Smith, when I ran into him in Kansas City at Planet Comic-Con, he was like, this van was the bane of my existence forever, because it was over at my mother-in-law's house, and she's like, when are you gonna get the van out of here?
Yeah.
And so he called Ming, and Ming put it on eBay. A guy in Canada bought it. I wound up buying it from him, and he lost the paperwork sending it to me.
oh no.
But I had copies of everything, and so
Yeah.
I saw Ming, and I'm still waiting on Ming to get me a title. Ming, I need that title. Hey.
There we go. And then one of my favorite cars you have right here. This is the Corvette Grand Sport.
This is the Grand Sport. It was actually made by Mongoose. They made a bunch of these for Fast 5 because they did a lot of different stunts. There was a Volkswagen one that went over the desert. There was one that they fired out of the train, which actually had a cannon on it. There was one that went off into the water, and then there was all different kinds in between. And this one here runs and drives. It's got a 350 in it. But this is actually the one that they shot out of the train.
Oh, this is that car.
Yeah, this is that car.
So is it jacked up. There's nothing in the back here. Is there a cannon or something?
No. They like when they put it back. Well, we wound up buying it from production when they were done. They sent it off to a place out in the East Coast where they put it back together, and they ordered all the parts from Mongoose, and then it went to a museum in Tennessee, and we wound up getting it back from them.
Yeah, this is a cool one.
Absolutely.
And then up here, another one of my favorites.
This right here is from Charlie's Angels. And was it from the first or the second one? I think it's from the first one.
I believe so.
But they actually, this was the car that they bolted to the bridge. And the other car hit it because they did the head-on thing, and the other car, it made it fly. And so this one was bolted to the bridge, and this was kind of like the stunt car for that. And so it doesn't have an engine or transmission, but after it did all of that, it was restored and made good for a museum.
Yeah. And you said you want to put this on your wall.
Yeah, Devin wants to put it on his wall.
Man, it would be so cool to see this thing running again.
Oh, yeah.
Devin, you should build it into a street car. That's what you should do, and drive it. Take it to Monterey or Laguna Seca. That would be awesome.
Now there's a whole second warehouse, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But before that, I want to explore the other half of the outside field.
Over here, we have a little brown car. What is this?
That's a Chevette from Falling Down with Michael Douglas. In the movie, at the very beginning of the movie, he's driving that car. He's in traffic, and he winds up leaving it in the middle of traffic, just getting out and going, bye. And and so it was used in many other films. It was at a rental company. It was used in many other films after that, and then eventually wound up at Plant Hollywood, and that's where we bought it from.
You got a Crown Victoria over here?
Yeah, that was used in lots of different movies. I'm not positive of which ones. We bought it from a studio rental company out there, but so if anybody sees that number there and
Movie bus.
recognizes the movie that it was last in, there's also a 22 that was right here
22, yeah.
along with that number again. So if anyone recognizes what it was in, I'd love to know.
That's a good bumper sticker. And then we got a few more cars back
Absolutely.
here.
This was the jump car from Fast 9 that they used. This was John Cena's car, who was Dom's brother.
Yeah.
And this was the car that he was racing, and they went across the bridge and it jumped. And this was that car.
And then you got a few more cars here, and this is another Better Call Saul camera car.
Yeah, this is Better Call Saul camera car. It's kind of neat because it's got the yellow hood like the original, and then the interior's set up, Hero, but it was made with a minivan bonded to the back so that the whole camera crew could just jump in the back and film over his shoulder.
Yeah, that's not opening.
This one might, I don't know. No, I think they got locked up.
Made it shut. Very interesting car. And it still drives, I assume it did drive.
We drove it here, so.
Wow. Made it stick together. And then another one.
Yeah, another Fast 10 Cena El Camino.
Wow. And then we've got over here this warehouse. But for those wondering, I had a lot of comments on the last video. How do you get these cars?
It just depends. We horse trade with other collectors and museums. We also buy a lot of stuff directly from the studios, from vehicle coordinators, from people who are renting them to the productions, and we just kind of are there for whatever people need us to be. We lease them to television shows, to commercials and things like that. We also put them out on the road, and we do like Comic-Cons with some of them and things like that. And we just try to protect it, because what happens is if we don't get it, then it winds up going to another movie. It gets repainted, they put new wheels on it, they crash it, they do whatever, and then it's lost to history, kind of like the Bullitt Mustangs.
Yeah.
And so we try to catch it as close to the famous moment that it had, and then if it needs to be brought back a little bit or whatever, or preserved the way it is, then that's what we do.
Yeah.
This right here was Rob Zombie's from the movie 31.
31.
31, it was a crazy horror film, and Sherry Moon starred in it, and she was like one of the main stars, and this was the
It's a very interesting vehicle.
Yeah, it's crazy, all of the artwork and stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, and then here We got a little golf cart.
And this is Michael Jackson's golf cart, Elvis Presley's limousine. This is a '67 Cadillac limousine. This is from what happened was MGM gave this to Elvis when he went out to do all his movies back in the late '60s. And they're like, here's your limo, here's your driver. He's like, listen, man, I drive myself. And so he would drive it. And this car would go back and forth to, back to Graceland, to Las Vegas. You know, his buddies would drive it. You know, his entourage would drive it. He would drive it. And so it was just all over the place for around 3 years. And then it was given back to MGM. It was used in the movie The Mechanic by Charles Bronson. He also drove it. This car's, I think it's only got like 13 or 14,000 miles on it.
Wow.
And they were all put on it by Elvis and his entourage, basically.
How'd you end up with this?
Well, the Elvis Presley Museum had it in, I think they had one in Osage Beach, and they had one in Niagara Falls and one in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And this one sat out in front of one of those museums. But they had, it had fallen into disrepair, so they painted it white, like the funeral procession ones. J.D. Sumner had talked them into painting it white. And then when I got it, I sent it to a bus restoration place down in Florida, and they repainted the whole thing. They went back and took it back to black that it was when Elvis had it.
Yeah.
But still needs a few things. Need the tent redone. And there are a couple of dents and dings that need to be taken out, but
It's very, very cool. Wow. And you just casually have
the Michael
golf cart.
Jackson's little golf cart, yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
like a Lincoln Town Car.
Insane. All right, and then, wow, this is interesting.
More warehouse. This is the Wayne's World 2 Pacer. This was done to kind of be like Thelma and Louise, and like in like a little montage scene that they do in the movie. They're like, maybe we could do the ending like this, and it's like an alternate ending, and where they drive off the cliff in the car like Thelma and Louise. And so this is their attempt at that. This is screen use. This is a Lamborghini tractor.
Wow.
This is a big old, you can see the Lamborghini right there. But yeah, this is a Lamborghini tractor.
What?
I bought it because I figured at some point I would love to restore this and then put it next to a Lamborghini in a museum at some point, just to kind of show the lineage and how Lamborghini changed from being a tractor maker into being, you know, a supercar.
Yeah,
company.
and if you ever get this restored, it would be the coolest thing to take it to like the Lamborghini dealership and be like, can you service my Lambo?
Oh,
and they come
yeah,
outside and they see
absolutely.
a tractor and they're like, sir, maybe one day. Or if anyone else has one and you live by a Lambo dealer.
Camaro, this is just Devin. This was Devin's mom's Camaro, so we're just kind of hanging on to it.
What's this?
This is gold members dong from the gold member thing. They made what was that? Corbin Sparrow. It was like a little electric car, and they did it for the Austin Powers movie. And in part of the movie, you see this being lowered because this is, and it never actually fit on the car. It was just kind of the one that was like hanging. This is just the old Jeep that I've got. The old M151, and this is a smart car display. Back when we first started the museum, we basically, you know, we were trying to fill up space, so we'd get anything that was kind of interesting, and now we got things that are way more interesting than that.
A very interesting piece. And then we have
here's the rocket engines off of, and the tanks off of the top of that Fiero over there. We took them out and had them powder coated so that they would withstand the weather.
Nice. And then you got another Fast and Furious car.
Now this Fast and Furious 8, this is the Cuba Chevy. This is one of my favorite cars. This car is, they've built models of it. Hot Wheels is getting ready to come out with a 1/64 scale of it. And it is just, it's a 49, is it 48, 49?
I believe
49 fleet line. And it's put onto a modern chassis with a modern small block. And then as the intake, they wallered out one of these old turbos to make it look like it's all legit. And then it's got tubular A-arms. It's got disc brakes. If you'll notice, they even painted the aluminum wheels rusty
Yeah.
to make it look like, you know, they would be down, because down in Cuba, they were just like cannibalizing cars to race them and stuff for the car scene down there. And then it's got all the studio numbers on it.
This
And,
one's cool.
It's got a drift brake in it that's well concealed as a shifter. It's got the lap belts and everything. This is a really cool car. I like that. This is from Too Fast, Too Furious. This is a screen used car from that.
This is probably my favorite car you guys have. This is, if I could have anyone and take it home, it would be this E36.
This is a really cool one. I like it a lot.
Wow.
I think it's only got like 40,000 miles on it.
This is a real M3?
No, it's just a, what is it, a 323?
323.
223.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's got 40,000 miles on it.
It should be open here.
Oh yeah.
But it's beautiful inside.
This is mint. You drive this one on the streets ever, or?
No, but I did way back in the day, like right after Too Fast, Too Furious came out. I bought this, and I think we drove it from New York to Michigan, where I sold it to a gentleman, and then he sold it to another guy who sold it to a guy who owned the Dream Car Museum, and then we wound up buying it from him. So
Sick.
sometimes they come back.
Yeah.
This
And then-
right here is Jim Carrey's loaner car from The Mask. This is the car that he kicks apart on the bridge. And it's got like the springs back there, so they would literally, like the door or the fender would be on. And when he kick it, it actually has like springs that would spring it off.
Oh yeah, see that.
And so that's just kind of cool.
Wow.
Gina Davis's car from Long Kiss Goodnight. It's a big block Ford.
Oh, we got more
And
up
then
here.
Up here, well, this is all the stuff that goes in the back of the El Camino.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
This is that all of that crazy stuff.
And then you have one more car, this black police.
That's actually, I bought it. I thought it was from the RoboCop TV show, but I never could find pictures of it. Turns out it was like a homemade copy of a RoboCop car, but it is a 5-speed SHO.
Oh, wow.
So it's got the 3-liter show motor in it.
Yeah. So you still got a cool car.
Yeah, I mean it's still got the 6-speed.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for showing us your collection.
Absolutely, we appreciate you coming out. We always have fun when you're down here.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, the overflow backlot. This is kind of where they go when we're done with them, or when they haven't been restored yet. They need some work.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the tour of the cars. Devin, which is your favorite car here?
Ooh. It would have to be either that Fox body or one of the Fast 5 Chargers.
Yeah, those are pretty sick. This, definitely my favorite. Which one's your favorite?
I'd say this one. I like this. It's just like, it's just raw. And I kind of had to pry it out of Dennis's hands because him and his son were out drifting it back in the day. But yeah, I really enjoy this car. Out of all of them, I think this is just because it's like art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just a regular car. It's art, you know, and no one would think of a car, no fenders, no hood, no doors, you know.
Mm-hmm. This is very cool.
Someday I'll put it on the road.
That would be awesome to see this thing driving. Wow. Well, thank you guys. I'm glad you watched the video. I appreciate you. And remember, whatever your dream is, never, ever quit. See you in the next one.